Welcome to the War Dove podcast. I'm your host, War Dove, aka Joe, and we are here with Stefano Nti today. He is
Hi.
a spiritual transformation guy, he is an author, he's an entrepreneur, he's getting it over there in Portugal, and we are here at 04 in the morning for him because he is in Portugal. Stefano, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
It's great. It's great to have our first international guest,
Mhm.
and we're just talking about transformation today. And what is your, I'm struggling for the word here. What is your transformation process? What's your, your main thrust,
Well,
shall we say?
well, I will say that transformation comes from experience in general, right? So everybody have their own way to face transformation, right? Sometimes you just people just don't want to until they want to transform, but they don't want to go through the process because sometimes it's just hurtful, it's heavy,
Mm,
it's not pleasant. But unfortunately, that's the only way to
mm,
get from A to Z. As they say, you need to pass through the darkness in order to reach the light.
yeah, yeah.
And and transformation is not just needed, but is essential. So as I say already, don't be afraid to feel embarrassed. Don't be afraid to feel that you failed. Don't be afraid that to feel that you are not enough. Because maybe you're actually not enough in that moment, but you are going to be enough one day for yourself, which is the most important thing.
Right, right. And here on the Ward of podcast, we're not only about transforming all of humanity through
Yeah.
promoting peace and ending warfare as an organized system of killing that humanity seems to have developed. I don't understand
Yes.
why. It's like those nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Yeah.
That energy could have been put somewhere else. But what you're saying is similar to the ideas of Jyoti Krishnamurti, who said the true revolution of consciousness comes from within, and that's what you're speaking about. That's
Yes.
I think that's that's what you're advocating is it's going to be painful, but if you want to change, you're going to have to go through that pain and go through that darkness to get there. Is there
Absolutely.
something in your life that you learned that from, where you became
Well,
this, you know,
mm,
personal coach, so to speak?
well, I will say that I can take many stories. Let's start from when I was a child, right? A child, I born in Italy, and I had a beautiful childhood, but obviously not always, right? I'm born in Verona, which is in it's a place in Italy up north, and is famous for not being the most welcoming
Hmm.
if you're talking about racism, right?
Okay.
Is let's say is the most I will easily say the most racist city in Italy, and I can easily confirming that. Because of that, I really had to find a way to sharp my skills and growing up with by knowing that I am in a disadvantage compared to my comrade. So try to find a way to to feel at the same level and get respected in the same way. Try to find a way to improve my talk, to improve the way I express myself,
Hmm.
uh, in order to instead of going just physically, right? Um, let's say I've been bullying a lot when I was a kid. I was I was from one side respected, but at the same side bullied a lot. That's why at one point I just stepped into the martial art, right?
Hmm.
I start to practice Muay Thai.
Okay.
And after a couple of years, right now I am a Muay Thai trainer. I giving classes. I have my own team which I'm giving class into. And let's say that was a big fact out of it, right? Because this gave me confidence, gave me but not just for the fact that I can be like, okay, I know how to fight, so I can respond or something, but just for the fact that I behave differently. You are going to project yourself differently to people. So as a reaction, people are going to react differently on you,
Hmm.
if that makes sense, right?
Right, right.
So
Yes.
let's say this just as a base. Then apart from the classic racism, which everyone at the end of the day is experiencing in certain degrees, right? Even white people are experiencing racism in different cases, right?
Hmm. Okay.
But another story which I can bring out, it could be maybe something a bit more lately when I had the discussion with my previous girlfriend, right, or partner, where I had a child with,
Mm,
and let's say that wasn't really a bright moment of my life because you had to basically leave a kid behind,
mm,
or not being able to live with your kid, with your child, right, in the way you want and with your partner. But it's fine. At the end of the day, I mean, you can have many partners in the life. The child are limited,
mm.
right?
Right. And
But
mhm.
yes, no, in a short way, this just I've been learning a lot. I've been learning a lot of lesson from that, and it's something which made me grow a lot. And that was also one of the main reasons, for example, which I started to step into business.
Right, right. And I'm definitely interested in martial arts. I
Yes,
did some Taekwondo back in the day. Um,
great.
and I've been actually looking to get into a martial arts studio or a martial arts gym and start that up again. Can you tell us
Yes.
more about your style of martial arts? Where is it from? And
Well, I will say, I'm teaching Muay Thai, so or they call it also Thai boxing, but it's quite different. Let's say Thai boxing is the modern version adapted to the ring, while Muay Thai is the traditional style.
mm,
Um, I also do teach and practice kickboxing and box as well. I will say that you should just find something which connects to you at the
mm,
end of the day. Personally, I try Taekwondo. I try BJJ, which is not. I still like it, but it's not my main focus. I been training MMA for more than a year at this point. I tried um, Jiu-Jitsu, classic Jiu-Jitsu, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I tried another style which now right now it doesn't jump in my Aikido. Here we go. I tried Aikido, but and I did 6 months of Kyokushin karate. Let's say that they didn't really fit, apart from Kyokushin karate, which I had fun, but they didn't really fit with me, right?
mm,
That type of style because I was more used to something more impactful, something more intense. Muay Thai is the art from Thailand, is an art from Thailand. They call it art of the eight limbs because you're going to use eight part of the body to strike with. So you have your punches, you have your elbows, you have your knees, and your shin,
mm. Wow.
obviously, to each. Then you have the clinch. So you are going to engage in a sort of standing grappling, if you want to, if you would. And it's really effective. It comes from an ancient, um, how do you call it, military form of military fight system,
Mm,
and but is being adapted for show, right?
right. For
But it is
display.
really. For exactly, yeah. But
Hmm.
I think in my book it is one of the most effective form of self-defense you can find because you have the every strike is made for knock out your opponent. Every single strike.
Wow.
So if something happens in the street, you just want to knock out your opponent and get out of there.
Yeah, that's for sure. I may have to start studying that style because certain parts of the city can get dangerous, and it'd be nice to take people out with one shot because
Yeah.
you don't want to be sticking around. Um,
No.
Not with some of and honestly, I think that it's part of the mental health crisis, at least here in the United States, that we have, where there are folks who are just not being taken care of with mental health and also with severe addictions to drugs and alcohol. It's more
Mm-hmm.
drugs than alcohol, but there are some folks out there that are suffering that we're not taking care of. And
Mm-hmm.
here on the podcast, I try to view us all as one human family. And that's just one aspect of how we're neglecting our brothers and sisters. Um,
Mm.
the racism that you experience is another example of how we're neglecting and abusing our brothers and sisters. Um,
Yes.
what do you think, because you're all about transformation, I just kind of want to get a little, heady here for a second. Um,
Yes.
what do you think it's going to take for humanity to just realize, hey, we're actually all one? These nation states, these borders, these
Well,
differences, while valuable and culturally significant, really don't change that we're one human species and we really have to get off the planet if we want to survive. You know what I mean?
yes. Well, let's okay, let's be brutally honest for us for a minute, right? Unfortunately, uh, the supremacy is really embedded into this planet. It's not just human, but even in the animal kingdom, it's something which you have like the leader, for example, in the lion, you have or the gorilla, you have the the head of
Mhm.
the of how do you call it of the
Uh,
group of the crew, whatever. I don't know how
yeah.
to say it in English, but you got it right.
The alpha. Yeah.
The alpha, right? Exactly, right. You have the alpha and the wolf. So it's something which is embedded in our nature.
Mm.
So unfortunately, um, if we want to be able to live peacefully, we all need to mature enough to detach from our animal instinct and become a little bit more, I don't want to say godlike, but on that direction, right?
Mm.
Understand what is really important in life and for what is about right now the system from the rat race which we are all living in and the fact that we all want to become the best version of ourselves. We are too much focused on our own ego.
Mm.
So the best version of ourselves, not the best version of humanity. So
Mm.
you get the what is the problem here, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's something which is going to go away soon.
Mm.
And I don't think because I think we just it's probably going to evolve, right? So
Mm.
it's always about the food chain. Who is on top of the food chain?
Mm.
So on back in the day, this certain race or people were on top, then this other came, then this other is always been like that.
Mm.
And I don't unfortunately I don't see a way out of that um, soon. Not at all. We can mature, that's for sure. So I think we need to just to focus at least to understand that us as a person, which we are all equal, can live a better life if we start to talk to each other and understand each other. and accept each other difference. So we don't have to force our our difference on somebody else, assuming that we are better just because our way been working for us.
Right.
Mm, doesn't work. At least for who is on top of the food chain, which is not us as a human, it's not black, it's not white, it's not yellow, but the guys which are on top, they are just on top. We
Right.
all know how it is. So at least the people which are below, so the rest of the world, will be ideal that we can just talk to each other for a minute and unite. Would be beautiful. It is actually possible, but we are too lazy for making an effort.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of laziness involved in that. And
Yes,
speaking of laziness, which actually brings up change, you've written a book about transformation and
yes,
all that stuff. I would love to hear more about your book so the listeners out there can go out because I'd love them to purchase it. And we're
yes.
going to include a link to the book in the
Beautiful.
description of the video there. And the title as well. So please take it away. Tell us about your book. I'm always excited to meet another author. So,
Nice. So our book is more a working book, right? So is is something which, first of all, as I said already, it's not something which you read and you put it in Italiano. In Italian, we say dimenticatoio, but so in English would be like the forgetted place, or something like that. So you just put it back in the shelf. It's a working book, so every day you will need to commit with it and show up. It's going to help you to transform by taking notes of your thought process, by taking note of what you've been doing in that moment, of taking note on your evolution, and taking note of what is your goal and where or what you became, because they say that it takes 3 weeks in order to solidify, um how can I say, solidify a
I have it.
routine,
Yeah.
a habit,
Yeah.
exactly, right? And this is lasting 30 days, so 1 month. The only things which I like to insist one more time is that it's a quick read. So it took me actually it took me a couple of days just for putting the structure, so quite quick. But it took me more than a month for understanding how make everything work effectively,
Mm.
because I need to try it myself. Otherwise,
Mm. Right.
it doesn't make sense. Maybe some things in the book might not work because we are not all the same. I just already put it there.
Hmm.
Something the book might not work for, because maybe if you are already some people which, for example, there is if I'm not mistaken, is then chapter 7, where there is an exercise for keeping your room or your house clean, right?
Hmm.
And you just need to use a couple of technique in order to be able to do it every day. But if you already have a person which is like a cleaning paranoia, they call it, is quite neat, tight. It just has this is a maniac of order, right? Is an order maniac, right? This is maybe not going to be effective for you because you're already doing it yourself. So
You're already doing it. Yeah. You
you're
don't.
already doing it. So you won already on that side, right?
Yeah. See,
But
I
you
need.
obviously we are not perfect, so
Right.
yeah.
See, I need a book that will help me clean my house. Can the book clean it for me? That's the real question. Because like we said earlier, we're lazy as people. We are.
Yes.
I know I am. I would like like a house robot. I'm really excited about those Tesla bots because they can
Yes.
pick up eggs already. I'm excited to see what they can do with my house. So,
That's actually a good topic to bring up. Um, I will say that that's amazing. I would love to have one as well. Let's face it, who doesn't, right? But unfortunately, the dark side of it is that you are is not transformational. is there is I see it as approaching like in like let me say, for lack of a better word, I would say like a martial arts approach, like something similar to a martial art approach, right? So in order to improve, you just need to show up. You just
Mm,
need to be there, doing the exercise which you don't want to do,
right.
and sacrifice a bit of time and feeling the pain
Yeah.
in order to reach the goal. The same thing is also to keep your room clean or in order or wherever it is, right? Because if you have somebody else which is going to do it for you, you're not going to evolve. You're not going
Right.
to grow. So
Right.
fortunately, that's the dark side, I would say, of technology. Technology is an amazing tool. Is a game changer. God bless technology, but we still need to be able to make sure that what technology is going to take care for us is not going to limit it or slow up our self growth,
Right. Right.
our transformation.
Right. And technology is an amazing thing. I mean, here
Yeah.
I can have a guest on from Portugal live.
Yes. Yes.
Well, we're not live right now, but I can
But yeah.
upload it. It's I
Yes.
mean, it's truly incredible for someone to be able to run an international podcast out of their house is a
Absolutely.
miracle of technology. But like we said, you still have to show up. Had to get up at 4 a.m., which is great because it
Yeah.
motivates me to have something to get up for and do. There was a story that I heard online in one of my favorite motivational videos about a guru. And
Mhm.
this young man meets the guru and he says, "Hey, I want to be successful." So the guru says, "Hey man, if you want to be successful, meet me at the beach at 4 a.m." The guy
Mhm.
said,
Yeah.
what the heck are you talking about?" So he shows up, he's in a suit, and he meets the guru at the beach. And you know, the guru says, "Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna walk out in the water." And this guy's in the suit. He's like, "I should have worn a bathing suit anyway." He steps out in the water, and the guru is with him, and he says, "Okay, step out a little further till it's up to your knees." Guy's like, "This guy's crazy." He just walks forward, and he gets up to his hips, and he goes, "So what are we doing here, man? What's the deal?" The guru says, just keep walking," and he keeps walking till it's up to his chest. And he's like, "What is going on?" The guru grabs his head, shoves him underwater, and holds him there. He's struggling, he's struggling, he's struggling. He thinks he's going to drown. The guru pulls him out and he says, "What did you want while you were down there more than anything?" The guy said, "I wanted to breathe. I needed air. I was fighting. I needed air." He said, "That's right. Once you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful."
Yes.
And
That's
I
amazing.
always like that little anecdote.
Yeah. 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 I love it. I love it. That's this type of anecdote, as you said, is something which a lot of people doesn't really stop for a minute and really brainstorming about it. It's so profound and specific that for make you understand that if you really want something, it needs to be in on a level of your how to say it, of your life or of your it needs to be something which needs to be can I say so big that is essential for your
Mhm.
for your survival. I love it. I think I might write it down. I might listen to the podcast again and write it down. And actually, that we are talking about survival. Let's bring out also your book, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. I think I might give it really a shot because um, I think we have some. Could you talk about that more? Because we'd like to know to have some more insight, some more nuggets.
right, right. So my book is called The Broken Mirror of Memory, Iraq and Other Tales,
Yeah.
and it's available on Amazon for $8. $2.95 right now. That's at printing cost.
Yeah.
Because my goal with the book is not to make money. My goal is to get the story out there. I have enough money from, thankfully, other sources of income that I don't need to make
Yeah.
money off this book. It's just a story I want to share with the world, and it's about going to Iraq as a young man, seeing the horror of being in a combat zone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We lost, the Army lost 10 soldiers while I was there, at our air base alone. Um, and then I came home. I started drinking on the plane from, my final leg of the flight from Atlanta to New York. A businessman, I was upgraded to first class. I was riding home in style, and a businessman bought me a beer, and I didn't stop drinking for 10 years.
Wow.
And I kept drinking and drinking, and eventually I realized that you can't drink the dead back to life. So I went
Yes,
to AA
absolutely.
and I stopped.
Mm.
And, you know, that was sort of a 12-step self-improvement program. Then I then weaved the 12 steps and the lessons I learned there into the book. And I started healing through psychedelic therapy, which I understand is something you may have some knowledge and expertise on.
Yes, yes.
But I started healing through psychedelic therapy, and that really brought me home, brought me to the oneness of the universe. It's where I realized that not only is humanity one, but the universe is one. And once you have
Yes.
those realizations on psychedelics, it rewires and changes your way of thinking so profoundly that you can't go back. You're not the same person you were. You never will be. So
Absolutely.
that's my book in a nutshell. There's
Yeah.
some other, little things in there. I lost my mom when I was 10, and
Oh,
so I
wow.
actually wrote the second half of the book called Maggie, all about what I know about my mother, the effects of loss on a child,
Mm-hmm.
and how we can overcome that and
Mm-hmm.
use that as a motivator to do better in life and
Mm-hmm.
keep
Mm-hmm.
trying. What it
Yes.
is one person that read it said that it's a sad book, but it's profoundly motivating. Um,
Mhm.
so I'd be honored if folks checked it out. I'd be honored to have a copy in Europe, obviously. Um,
Yes, yes, yes.
that would be
As I
a
said
thrill.
already, I will make sure to promoting it in my circle. It
Great,
sounds
great.
really, really interesting. I think you have a lot of things to share to the world, and every time somebody have something unique, people just must see in order to be able to grow and transform because it's about transformation. It's always about transformation.
Right, right. And speaking of transformation, like I mentioned earlier, um,
Yeah.
you do have some knowledge and expertise into psychedelic therapy. Could you tell us anything about that?
Well, psychedelics are such a broad topic that I don't even want to start with. Well, let's say that psychedelics we all know mushrooms how they work. At least if you've been tried it once,
Mhm.
you're going to understand that mushroom is not a drug.
Mhm.
Absolutely, it is not like smoking weed
Mhm.
or it's not like cocaine or whatever.
Mhm.
It's medicine. It's pure medicine. I am involved in I we started a project, me and my partner, in a project called Always Way. For everyone, if you want to check, is www.alwaysway.com. And we are focused on integrative medicine, right? So my partner is a doctor, and I am sport trainer and sport and health promoter. Psychedelics are finally started to be using also as a therapy officially, right? Since 4 or 5 years, also in Europe, because in Europe things are coming a little bit later, slowlier, right? And in place like Italy, for example, is even more, even more. But it has a lot of benefit. It has a lot of if you can take it under control because let's remember that every time you take psychedelic, you need to be in a good place already in your
Mhm.
mind. You
Set and setting. Yeah.
yes, you can't really play with. You need to respect that type of. It's not recreational. Is introspective. Is really a it's like a workbook. It's really a work works you out. You really dive into yourself and force you to face your inner demon
Mm,
and force you to understand that actually your inner demon are there for help you. They are not there for curse you or but they're just advising you that they're just warning you about something which you didn't want to face or you're not aware of. And psychedelic is a amazing gate opener for that.
right.
It makes you really understand that everything here is, I would say, is the key for the Matrix, the movie Matrix. You really feel like in the Matrix. You feel that everything is so fake. Everything is absolutely not real. Is almost made up,
Right.
and we are worried for such a silly for s- for s- for s- silliness, like Bob Marley say, right? Every little thing's gonna be all right, right? So is you can't paying bills obviously is needed for for living the life, right? Living the life you want, but is not the most important thing. That's not is not about life. That's not life. You didn't come in this planet for paying bills. So makes you understand really what is important in your life. So I really love psychedelics because it's just the ultimate way to achieve God, I will
Mm,
say. It is really a gate. I I personally I am a shaman, right? I am okay, so I do engage with the psychedelic in a spiritual way. Um, I try to keep the things separate between what I do for business and spiritual because sometimes unfortunately they seem to not really fit together
mm,
because they're two different type of targets and people and mindsets and so on. But I think as a persona you can complement or you can educate, unify them in order to grow from one side and another
right.
because they will help you to grow. So you're going to grow at in a holistic way, holistically.
Right.
I like to go. I like to take. Depends on. As a beginner, I would suggest that you are going to step with maybe a gram of dried mushroom if you want to try with the mushroom. A gram is more than enough. But then well, it's going to depend also of your body weight.
Mm,
So if you're like here we are talking kilos, so I don't know in but if you're like around 70 kilos, you should get around 1.8 to 2.2 grams.
mm. Oh,
That's
yeah. Makes its kilos to grams. But grams is
exactly
metric too, isn't it? So it's weird that I know grams. I don't know kilos, but I know grams.
kilos. Really. Well, fair enough. Yeah, but it's always strange try to interact with American or English, right? And be like, okay, no kilogram, libras, and feet and kilometers, and it's yeah, takes always a while. Thanks God, Google helps. And well, anyway, you for whoever listen, you can do your math in case it's not that big as a deal. If you're more a little bit more expert, you can obviously increase the dose, right? And what is also important is the quality of the mushroom you're going to intake. Are they fresh? Are they dried enough? Are they Ecuadorian or are they depends on what you, for example, what I like is Golden Teacher, which, as you already hear, Golden Teacher, the name is already a program, right? Is a they're really good. They are really introspective. Or the McKenna, that's also a really good ones. Or the Albino Plus. All of these are Cubensis. So Cubensis are the most popular strain of psilocybe of mushrooms you can find around. The compound, which is yes, you're
Golden
saying something.
teacher. I'm just taking it down for research
Um,
purposes only.
yes, that's a right thing. That's a good thing to do. A golden, also golden teacher will say, the Ecuadorian, they're not bad. Not my preference, but not bad. McKenna, absolutely. McKenna, if you have it, mm, go for it. And PES.
Mm,
PES are, I think, are really the best which I be ever tried, because they still have the introspective side of the golden teacher, but they are uplifting. Instead of pushing you down, they lift you up a little bit more. So they have this sort of slightly LSD kick to it, just slightly, right? So you can enjoy both. They are really visual and still introspective. So I think they're my preferred one, my way to go. What I like to do, for example, is just taking some of them and going to the forest and having an introspective moment with the nature, which sometimes can result into an ego death. An ego death, if if you don't know what it's about, is when once you realize that you are really just part of everything else. Or mm, at least that was my experience of ego death, right? Sometimes I have the other friend. I was just talking about that yesterday, actually, with a friend of mine, which he has his ego death was when he realized that things which he been always convinced about on his own life, then it wasn't suddenly wasn't not like that anymore, right? And he was like out of his body and out of his consciousness, and seeing himself from outside 7 times. So in out, in out, in out, in out. So that's also another sort of ego death somebody can have, right? So it's really the fact that you are understand that you are not you. You are just a construction of yourself. You are just what you think or what people are expecting from you to be, or the
mm,
society is expecting from you to be. But you are not that, because every time once you born, you start from zero. You are just a creature, empty, and you just need to be formed. And this is the beauty of mushrooms, because it's almost like it just brings you back to that form, right? And just kicks away or shapes away all the mm, misbeliefs and lie which we've been feeding on all of this time.
right,
It's
right. And
amazing.
that's something that I've experienced. I experienced the oneness with the universe, which is a sort of ego death. I talk
Yeah.
about it in the book, being in a red chair and becoming one with a chair, and the chair
Yes.
then sort of transporting me through the universe and becoming one with everything, where everything melted.
Yes.
And
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I then realized that on a separate, trip, shall we say, that I was observing my own thoughts. So I was outside of my thoughts, observing my own thoughts. Well, then, if I'm not my thoughts and I'm not this thinking thing, because something is doing the thinking, but I'm watching the
Yes.
thinking, then
Yes.
what am I? I am different than the thinking mind. I am something else.
Yes. Absolutely.
And that was that was really strange.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You realize that you are the observers of your thought. So you are not your brain, but you actually are what is maybe so-called spirit, or you are a form of energy outside of what surrounds you. This is an amazing realization once you can discover. Unfortunately, not all people are ready to face it. Mm, Not all people are ready even to accept it because it is inside of us, and is this sort of voice which talks clearly. We can all hear it, but some people just don't want to because it's easier. It's like thinking like after death there is nothing else. Well, could be, who knows at the end of the day, but that's really s- mm, too superficial. That's really like not even. It's just easy. It's just easy. It's just too easy, and simple. The same concept on once we say, because people are afraid to transform, are afraid to making an effort.
Yeah,
If
they
you know
don't want
that
to face things. You know,
they don't, sorry.
people don't want to face things. You know, they don't want to
Yes,
face their own ego death. They don't want to face
yes,
their own physical death.
yes.
I know that well, I actually had an experience working as a hospital chaplain that made me less afraid of death. But it's still there in the back of my head, so I'm going to need to do more inner work on that. But
It's normal. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's
it's not
normal.
our instinct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, it's very reptilian brain. It's very instinctual,
Yes.
obviously. So,
Yeah.
you know, but I think that it would be interesting to see the legalization of psychedelics. I know they're legal in certain U.S. states, and they're, I guess,
Worldwide, please. Worldwide, please. Can't us in. Can't us in because it is needed.
yes, it is medicine and it is needed.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I firmly believe, and it has the power, I think, to have that revolution of consciousness if we
Yeah.
somehow patented it, which I hate to do because it would involve corporations and large distribution networks on the one hand. On the other hand, it would allow for it to be made into a medicine that
Yeah.
could actually help people and take away its illicit nature, shall we say. So there's pros and
Yes.
cons on that particular idea, not something I'm advocating for, just a thought. But if you had them in a pill form and you said, okay, here is this dose of psilocybin, then people may say, oh, well, it's prescribed by a doctor, it's for this, it's for that. And this is a medicine, as opposed to,
Yes.
but then I think it takes away from the sacredness that is, someone working as a shaman, for example,
Yeah. Yeah.
sacredness to it. That's part of a
Yeah.
healing ceremony, uh,
Yeah.
which is what a lot of veterans from the United States are doing down in South America. They go down there to do ayahuasca or otherwise known as DMT.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now DMT
Beautiful.
is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it is interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'll have to make sure to click the not for kids link on YouTube on this. If you are under 18, if you are under 21, your brain is still developing. Do not try them. I'm just saying that straight out
Yes.
because your
Absolutely.
brain's still developing.
Yeah.
So stay away from drugs and alcohol and this medicine, it's known as psilocybin or magic mushrooms. Stay away from all of it until you're an adult, until you can make informed decisions. And I'm just putting that disclaimer in there now for YouTube,
Yeah.
because they analyze the video maybe. But it has
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
thrill to expand my consciousness with you, Stefano, today,
Thank you. Yeah.
because
Is
I would love to hang and watch a soccer match and have a beer, man, because
Let's do it.
yeah, we have a team here where I live called the Seattle Sounders,
Okay.
and um, they're a pretty good team in Major League Soccer. I know that football is way bigger than Europe than American football, which I watch. Go Bills. But
Yeah.
but I'm definitely into the Sounders and into some hockey. I don't know if you guys have hockey over there, but I love hockey.
Not really. It's more in Netherlands. In Netherlands
Mm,
and more up north. In Germany a little bit. But here in Latin country like France, Spain, Italy is not that popular. It's all about football,
hmm
uh, or soccer. Personally, I like to watch football just when it's like big occasions, like
hmm
World Cup or something like that. Just because it's a different atmosphere, right? Otherwise, it's not really my cup of tea. In that case, I will be more maybe in. Obviously, if you come here, let's do it anyway, right? But I will be more into rugby, for example, obviously martial art, whatever, fighting match, obviously. Hockey is interesting. I never, I can't say that I've been watching it myself as it's not that popular here, but I've been watching obviously a couple of matches during my existence, right? And it's not bad. It's not bad. It's still quite exciting. It's interesting to see how they can slip from one side to another on the. Well, you're talking about ice hockey, right? Yes, yeah. So it's, no, I like it. I like it. I like it. And I will say then I might watch also different type of sport like the Olympics usually, like the canoe or swimming. My partner actually, she's a swimming athlete and instructor right now. So she's really into swimming. Um, I like sport in general, and the NFL during the Super Bowl, I watch some games every once in a while. I'm not a huge fan, NFL fan, right? Right, but I do watch games randomly when maybe I'm with friends and want to watch something different than usual, right? Or obviously NBA basket is, I mean, is basket is more popular here in Europe than NFL, that's for sure. Is a bit more watched.
Yeah,
But
we are.
what I like.
There are more titles for the NFL in the United States than any other country. We still are the NFL champions. We're the Super Bowl champions. We've got all the wins.
Which is fair enough. Which is fair enough. I mean, no,
It
but
reminds me of my
it's
old college. It had a my college, the Evergreen State College. It's here in the Seattle area. They have a hoodie with a football on it. It says undefeated since 1967 because they don't have a football team. So they're undefeated.
we so if it is what it is, I mean, if they're undefeated, undefeated.
Undefeated. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, nobody's beat them at football yet. It's amazing. Stefano, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything that you'd like to close with? Anything you'd like to get out? Any any promotions, any ideas, anything you want to say to the world? I don't have a lot of subscribers yet, but they're here, they're
Oh,
listening. Take it away, brother, and then we'll close it out.
well, first of all, I really enjoyed this talk with you. You are really a easygoing person, and I love it. So, is I think you're going to do really great with this podcast. It's all about marketing at the end of the day, so that will make the difference. But the content and the style of your style presentation, I think you will be more than fine. And as a closing, I will say, okay, anyway, follow us in social media. If you write Olos way, Olos from Greek means holistic, and way, so way of holistic, the holistic part. But we are not our holistic center, but is integrative medicine. So you are just combining medicine with sport and different sort of different healing technique. So it can be Chinese medicine integrated or whatever, right? Because at the end of the day, every culture has a key or have as a knowledge which could help the other, right? So
Right.
so as I say, always way without h, alwaysway.com.
Okay. I love it.
And yes, follows us. We have also a YouTube channel which we are focused on martial arts, and also we are also having um they call it, we are putting some video of our previous podcast. So we also have a podcast. Our podcast name is The Wellness Maniac. So if you want to check it out, that's also out there. And I will say, as a closing, just really don't be afraid to transform. Sometimes just be open, and it's weird to say, but we be welcoming to disaster, or disaster, as you say. Be welcoming to all which is going to put you in a in I don't want to say depression, but that sort of feeling, because eventually you are getting out of that and you will become stronger. You'll just be transformed.
Mm.
And the beauty of it is that then it's not going to be over. Then you will be just ready for the next level.
Right. Right. And that's a great piece of advice to close on. Thank you for joining me and the barking terrier as
Thank you,
I
thank you,
continued to have
thank
to mute myself
you.
because of the barking terrier. And we will go ahead and close it there, folks. Just remember, as always, our motto here on the War Dove channel, be humble, be kind, and until next time, peace.
Peace.